We have had a pretty wild week in terms of Switch 2 news and information that has come to light recently. One thing I've noticed is that small details about the system have come to light, and a lot of people are kind of disappointed in them. First off, we've got to just get this out of the way. Tariffs in the United States have caused the pre-orders to be delayed for the system in the US and even Canada, which is wild to me. EU pre-orders have still gone live on time though, and it seems like they sold out immediately from what I'm seeing online. The stock keeps coming back up at random times though and just selling out again. As someone who lives in the US, I'm just a little nervous about being able to secure that pre-order. Worst case scenario is definitely if Nintendo just randomly drops the pre-order in the middle of the day and says, hey, go pick one up, they're available now. I think that would be an absolute nightmare for retailers, so I would assume that they would announce the pre-order date ahead of time, hopefully here in the next few days. Now, these tariffs have been paused, but only for 90 days. So it's being reported that Nintendo's goal is to get as many Switch 2 systems as possible sent to retailers before the tariff pause is up. According to Bloomberg, Nintendo already has a lot of inventory sitting inside of the US. So the situation's obviously not over. We're going to hear tariff updates well after the system releases this summer. What most people seem to be talking about are these really small details about the Switch 2 that are just really disappointing, like I had mentioned before. Now, these aren't as earth-shattering as something like the prices of the software, like the $90 Mario Kart game. These are just some small little tweaks that Nintendo probably could have made to the system, but for whatever reason didn't. The big one I feel like is gaining the most traction is that the Switch 2 Joy-Cons will not feature Hall effect sensors on their joysticks. I think at some point we've all kind of experienced some kind of stick drift or Joy-Con drift, as we called it for the original Switch. Nintendo has been pretty adamant on not admitting that there was any kind of problem with this, and it seems like they aren't making moves to mitigate this for their next system either. This doesn't mean that Joy-Con drift will continue in the Switch 2, we honestly just don't know, but it does seem a little strange that they would not update to the current technology for something like this. I'll say after my first launch day Switch that had terrible Joy-Con drift, I bought the Animal Crossing edition and I was gifted an OLED model. Neither of those have had any issues with stick drift, and both have gotten some pretty heavy playtime. Maybe the revision helped with this issue, but who knows. I guess we'll see how this plays out once the Switch 2 has been out for a while. The next one's probably the biggest fumble, personally for me, and that is that there will be no kind of achievement system on the Switch 2 console. I personally love hunting achievements or trophies, and I've always wanted this from Nintendo. Imagine 100%ing Mario Odyssey and getting that platinum trophy or whatever the Nintendo equivalent would be. I think this is a huge missed opportunity, but Nintendo themselves have stated in the past that they don't really think that this adds too much to the games themselves, which I guess is fair. I know Nintendo likes to kind of go an extra step and add some other kind of functionality to things like this when they add it into their system. Now, apparently we will get achievements for select games inside of this mobile app, the Zelda Notes app. Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild both will support this app, and apparently you'll get achievements within the app, and then it'll give you things in the game. So I'm interested to see how that works. Another massive disappointment that we are seeing with the Switch 2 is that the eShop will not have any background music at all. I guess we're just used to it now at this point because the Switch didn't have any background music on its eShop, but coming off of the Wii U and the Wii and hell even the DS era, like the DSi and the 3DS, this just makes me a little sad. I think the death of the eShop's personality involves a lot more than just losing the music, but damn, that was one of its most iconic aspects. To this day, people still love those background tracks, and I just don't really understand why they decided to stop doing it out of nowhere. I guess it's just a different era of Nintendo. Even though I complain about these small details not being exactly what I want, I'm still incredibly excited for the Switch 2, and I'm sure most of you watching are as well. These are just some really small things that I've noticed that are disappointing a lot of people. But how do you feel about the console? Are these things that are just not a big deal to you? Are you more worried about the software prices, like I said, the $90 Mario Kart game? Or do you just not really care and you want to get your hands on the system? That's kind of in the camp that I'm in. Anyways, thanks for watching and making it till the end. I'll see you next time.